Hello, Kaizeners, and welcome to the new episode, the third episode of our Kaizen podcast. As you can see today, we have a different situation. First of all, I'm speaking English and not Polish. So you can imagine that today I'll have a guest that is English speaking. Second of all, you also can see that background is a little bit different because I'm not in the studio today. To be honest, I'm far away from the studio in Finland. This is based, or the reason why it is because we are together with some colleagues of Kaizen Institute in what we call the GBM, the Global Business Meeting. We are here united with all the different BU leaders from all the countries around the world in Kaizen Institute to just come together, reflect on our achievements in the past, and also talk about the future. So I took this opportunity that I am here in Finland to invite to the podcast a very interesting guest, very special to me also to have this guest with me because it means like the beginning of everything. It's related to the origins of our institute, and it's also related to the origins of Kaizen as we know it in Kaizen Institute. The person that I have with me today is related also to Mr. Masaaki Imai, who left us, as you all know, last year. I have the daughter of Masaaki Imai and the executive director of Global Kaizen Enterprises, Risa Cox. Welcome to the podcast. Very nice to have you.
Thank you so much, Aleix. Great to be here.
Thank you. So first of all, of course, we have different guests that are looking at us right now. We have people from all around the world, probably. So the first question that I always do to my guests is, who is Risa Cox?
Well, who am I? I am a daughter of Masaaki Imai, and I guess this is why I'm here today. We are with Kaizen Institute, and today, as you said, we are having an annual meeting with all the leadership of Kaizen Institute from different parts of the world. And actually, we are having the 21st meeting tradition that we've been having. I joined Kaizen Institute in 96, so that's about 10 years after the first Kaizen book was published. And I do remember as a high school student, I went to the publishing party of the first book in Japan. So that was a big deal. You know, my father took years and years to complete study and research, visited companies, and finalized the first Kaizen book that was in 86. Company was established 1 year before in 85. So as a child or the teenager, I've been around just to see how he started the concept and put the methodology in the book and finally published. And 10 years later, I joined the company.
Okay. So you've seen, let's say, from the very beginning of creating, let's say, the methodology, the Kaizen methodology as we all know it today, through the evolution of it, right?
Yes. So the history is very interesting because my father, at a young age, he went to the U.S. as an interpreter. And back then in 50s, he was helping Japanese executives learning from American companies. And this is when he learned a lot of business and then also Japanese companies and end up realizing that those Japanese companies just couldn't learn straight from American organizations because situation was very, very different. So years later, Japanese companies basically creating their own way to be better. And that has something to do with Kaizen. Years and years later, now many Western companies are looking up for Japanese management system So actually, before the company was established in 1981, he organized the first, let's say, Kaizen study tour or the mission program. So Western executives came to Japan and now learning from Japanese companies. So the situation was totally reversed. So he lived all those transitions and all those contents became ingredients to a Kaizen methodology.
So, because that is very interesting to me, that as we are taught in the evolution of the methodology, first, as you mentioned, like Japanese management wanted to understand how American companies do, but then it was the other way around when all the methodology was evolving and Americans were looking at it like, what are they doing that they are being so profitable and they are increasing their numbers on that in that scale? What are they doing that is much different from what we are doing? So it was completely a change of the mindset also for Japanese people and also for American people, right? So Risa, let me just go back to you right now, like to your story, because I know you were born in Japan, right? And you started your life, let's say, in Japan. But how was also your, let's say, growing up with the Japanese culture, but also with the Kaizen methodology as part of the Japanese culture? Is it something, maybe I will put it that way, does Kaizen come to you during your life as a method of the Japanese culture, or you were already introduced through Masaaki and their teachings, let's say, with the evolution of the methodology as we know it today?
In Japan, I would say Kaizen is a way of life. It's nothing special or it's not something you pay attention or think about it. I remember as a child, or, like you may have a Kaizen week at school or in town. Sometimes, the special time that you think about Kaizen, but it's more like, kind of, how you can do better in a normal way. It's not really difficult or methodology or anything like that. And Kaizen term is used just everywhere. Teachers gonna tell you, let's Kaizen. That means I could just do better, that, right? And then just having some mindset to do a little bit better. Let's work harder. All those, the word Kaizen, improvement is everywhere. It's embedded into normal day's life. So nothing special.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the origin, from where it comes from in the Japanese culture? Is something that it's been there always? How do you relate to Kaizen as part of the culture? How was it created or built?
I think just you hear all that. It's just one of other, let's say, words that have positive meanings.
This kind of soul, no? Like a soul of the word itself.
Yeah. And also, naturally in Japanese culture, teamwork's always emphasized. Like in the school, the younger age, this group unit is very important than the individual unit. So the school teaches, of course everybody has to study and do better, but often this group unit is emphasized and respected. So I think naturally, maybe this has something to do Kaizen from the work perspective as well. As a group unit, and then in a school, kids are exposed to different responsibilities. Example, if you visit typical grade school in Japan, lunchtime, you have your own role, maybe your team, small group of you and your friends. Today is your role to serve the lunch.
Okay.
Right? And then today is your role to clean the classroom. And so discipline and the group unit and some idea of, okay, let's do better, which is Kaizen, they are all integrated in the everyday life from the young age.
And do you feel this also in you as a person, like related to maybe outsiders, like people that is not from Japan? Do you feel this difference that, for example, in yourself, that you have this mindset of being all the time thinking about improving yourself or about how we could do things differently from some specific activity that you do, even on your daily basis, than other people have in their own cultures?
I think to some degree, I feel, yes. Nothing that, outside of Japan, people are not trying harder or they don't respect the teamwork. It's not like that. It's just that I think from the culture point of view, Japan or the Japanese people have been emphasizing that unit and the respect for the others. And naturally, that becomes, let's say, normal behavior. So it's not a confrontational culture. It's more like what can we do better together? So this is this teamwork, and instead of, pushing my opinion, it's more like as a group, let's think about what we can do better. That's really the basic culture aspect that, school age, people and students, the small age people that they're going to start kind of experiencing in that way.
Okay. Very interesting to understand also, because we always hear about the stories of how Kaizen is embedded into the Japanese culture and how it's more a way of living than what we discuss between ourselves in the business part of how the Kaizen methodology as it was created. But I always felt also that like this kind of mindset was always part of the Japanese culture. There was something that is there and that they have from the very beginning since they are childs. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, to understand also how this relates to the specifics of the culture and how you are raised versus how other cultures, for example, do it on their own, or the other traditions, the other ways of doing that they have on their culture itself, right? One of the things that I also wanted to talk to you is about how Masaaki Imai and the work that he did, how also impacted you on your personal life growing up. Because of course, let's say that on your moment of growing up through the different stages of your life, Masaaki also evolved the methodology and evolved himself as the father of Kaizen that we are mentioning. So how was growing up also with him? How was his influence also on your life in Kaizen, with the Kaizen methodology and also outside of it?
I think Kaizen methodology is something that I learned a lot more in the later years, as he published a book, and then as a company we are helping our clients. But earlier years when I was younger, it's just being around this determination of learning and studying and putting this methodology together. And that, I think, had a very huge impact on me. And then with that, also, this Kaizen culture, how we should do better is naturally probably influenced me as a person, when we are studying or just normal day, day-to-day just living. And then also, we are talking a lot about Japanese culture, but he was also very exposed to foreign cultures as well. He's known of a person in Japan that he's always traveling, he's always going somewhere. So I think he was really qualified, not only because he's Japanese and then knowing this Japanese aspect of business or the culture or everything, but knowing what things were like outside of Japan and how companies are behaving or thinking. I think that had a lot of actually impact on him and also on me, that understanding, how Kaizen can help and why this methodology is good. So I think this international understanding of the cultural differences probably also had the great impact on me growing up.
And you think that you are bringing this to the next generation, to your daughters, for example? You feel that as well?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they catch whatever positive, as always, not if any negative things, they can forget about it. But if anything that they can consider positive, definitely I want them to, catch and absorb and
as much as possible.
Yes, yeah.
Also, you mentioned that one of the things that Masaki was doing was also dealing with traveling, going abroad and understanding other company cultures and how what he learned, studied in terms of the Kaizen methodology could help them. That's how more or less was created the company, or the purpose of the company. What is the main differences that you would highlight in his work when he was going abroad and looking at companies that are, of course, not Japanese in other countries, either if this is Europe or this is America? What is the main challenge that you remember was always in there having these experiences?
I think he identified very quickly the difference where Japanese companies tend to pursue for longer term view. And let's say, historically, many Japanese companies, they're family companies that they consider employees as an asset and like a family. So historically, those are the background. Now, big companies are becoming more corporation-like, maybe even westernized, but the attitude towards the people, employees being always different in his view, in his the learning, and always having this long-term view that Japanese companies have is really the good essence of the success for the Japanese companies.
So in that way, like, do you feel that also all Japanese companies have Kaizen as a way of doing, or not really?
Yes, as much as Kaizen is a Japanese word and used everywhere and, deep in the day-to-day life, I think Japanese companies not all Japanese companies are necessarily Kaizen companies. And what I mean by that is, Kaizen mentality is something that it doesn't come naturally. So management has to, really nurture and consciously put in operations and to create this excellence, right? And many Japanese companies, of course, they have some cultural advantage of this long-term view or the group work, the teamwork emphasis. from Kaizen point of view, they might have a lot of ways or the operations and flows disrupted, or, the fundamental Kaizen aspects may not be pursued. So when we go to Japan and you visit different Japanese companies, still sometimes you say, wow, great company, because they're pursuing those Japanese Kaizen the methodology. At the same time, you're going to see also some other companies that they are not necessarily pursuing Kaizen. So you're going to see a lot of waste and, Because
we can imagine that, like, people who are on the other side, let's say, when we hear about Kaizen and we are passionate about the methodology, we imagine that, that kind of culture or methodology is embedded into each Japanese business that we have in Japan. But it's not really like that. So like I understand that it's kind of way of living and it's embedded into the Japanese culture and people bring this into businesses, but not every company defines this as a strategy or as an operational model, following the different, let's say, tools or methodologies that are embedded into what we understand as Kaizen, as the methodology itself, right? Another thing that I wanted to discuss is like also the impact that this had back in the 80s when Masaaki Imai published his first book. And I wanted also to understand, because probably you lived it during those years, is how he built this method, how he became the father of Kaizen as we understand it. Because we know that methodology or the different tools that we find in the methodology sometimes are tools that were in the Toyota production system, and some of the managers like Mr. Ono developed in the production, and how he was able to build all this methodology around all these tools and all the production system at the moment. How was this, let's say, how was this building up during those years?
I have to guess that his achievement, the best achievement that he made as he put this first book together was just not only picking up different tools and different systems like through the production system as an example and try to, let's say, massage, mimic, and then create something similar. I think he was able to create this system which is based on those Japanese TPS or Kaizen mindset, but yet clearly articulating how you can bring that goodness into the company, and how to do that from the systematic point of view as a system. And then, of course, he talked about, like 5S or Hoshin deployment or, all those things. But at the end, he was able to connect all those things and then made it universal that we can bring it to any company. And we are talking about not only Japanese companies, because in the 80s at the beginning, everybody was saying, well, this is a Japanese methodology. It's not going to apply to my culture or my country or my people. But no, we have proven that this is so universal, yes, for any culture, any language, or any industry even. And Kaizen started, as you know, from manufacturing, but you can apply that to different departments. Most importantly, organization-wide Kaizen, right? We need to make sure that it's employed not only in portions, but we want to see that again, as he put as Kaizen has to be done by everybody and everywhere and every day. That is absolutely the simplest but most powerful concept.
Actually, that's one interesting thing about what you just mentioned is that when it was published, the first book, Kaizen, and then we had the second book, so Gemba Kaizen. It's true that in the first Kaizen, he presented it more like the view on the methodology. What is it and how I, as a person or as a leader, as a manager, I can improve myself, or what can I do to improve, to be better. While in the second book, the Gemba Kaizen, he's talking about the people in the Gemba. So not about just me, but how can I also involve people and improve lives of people in the Gemba, and how can I improve the Gemba at the very end. And that is exactly the difference. That was like, to do that, I need to have everyone involved every day and everywhere in all the areas of the organization. This brings me to another topic that I think is also quite interesting. That is the evolvement of the methodology itself, because we are talking about something that started in the 80s, and now we are 2024 right now.
Yes.
How you also mentioned that you joined the company in the 96, but also on the, let's say, moving forward with the evolution of Kaizen. How do you see this evolution from back in the 80s when everything started to nowadays, as a methodology and also as Kaizen Institute as well?
Yeah, methodology-wise, again, starting point was heavy manufacturing. The Toyota, let's say, perfected this Toyota production system. And so it was very easy to be applied to manufacturing area. So naturally, our clients and where we were helping in Gemba tend to be in manufacturing area. And then also using tools like this Hoshin implementation and different things. It took, I think, a longer time to be able to use Kaizen methodology in different areas, maybe probably because of the starting point being manufacturing, or again market, and then the companies realizing, this is so powerful that we can be benefiting from Kaizen. And then of course gradually it's going into different sectors, but also spreading out in different parts within the organization. With that, as a company, also, there's something great about Kaizen, and then our Kaizen methodology is these core values and principles will never change, but also as we live and the world change, we can adapt all those outer influences into how to help companies. So in this methodology itself is something always evolving. So I think that's very unique. We have a consulting company where we can say we created this methodology, and this methodology is universal, and this methodology is always also improving according to the outer influence or reality of client situation or market, or right, the world's changing so fast. It's nothing like how business were run in 80s. So methodology is also evolving to be able to help the current issues that the companies are experiencing. So this is the evolution of the methodology, not forgetting this core part that's originated from the first book and in 80s. And I think it's so rare that we can say we have such a precious methodology that can help everybody in the world. And also this will not be outdated because we are always having a lot of energy and intellectual powers going into this methodology, so that methodology is always being involved and improved.
I also feel that methodology is kind of the basis that we use. And then as the world evolves and things change, for example, now we are looking into this digitalization, AI, automation, like a lot of things happen in the last years and in the near future. We are able to adjust the methodology to the new challenges that we face and redirect our methodology, keeping the foundations of it just to the new needs that people or the customers have facing these new challenges. I think that that's one of the things, this kind of flexibility that we have from what it started 40 years ago, let's say, as a Kaizen methodology to today. But Risa, if I look also internally as Kaizen Institute, how do you feel like also we were doing 40 years ago? So when we started delivering workshops, you were mentioning to me before we discussed how at the beginning, the same Masaaki Imai was this kind of Gemba workshops, one Gemba after another Gemba, and how we are doing now, how this also evolved internally in the way of conducting different projects or Gemba workshops, in your opinion?
Yes, we have a humble beginning as a company. So with the book being published in 80s, book became very popular. So at the beginning, he was having a lot of seminars and talking to big audience, in different countries. With that, with the promotion of the book, we started consulting operation one by one in different countries. So rather, it was a very humble beginning. And as we grew, we have been working on this the group of our company to, of course, have this. We always had coming from the same place, which is Kaizen methodology. But as a company, we have to really have this standards way of working, not only in delivery, but to function as a global company. My father used to say Kaizen Institute was smallest global company. He used to say Kaizen Institute was the smallest global company, and that was so true. This is years ago. Today, we have consultants in many different countries and growing, helping more clients. But I think it's just it's very important for us to protect that authenticity of Kaizen methodology and building up on that as we grow and then go to the next level.
I have to say that even being here in Finland, we have all the business unit leaders from a lot of countries. I don't know how many, more than 30 for sure. And it's true that they feel like kind of a family between us. Like we're growing up together, the generations that started in different moments of the evolution of the Kaizen methodology. But it's something, as you mentioned, that we keep this kind of beginning, the humble beginnings. We all know where we are coming from, and I hear a lot of stories from different people that is here with us on how it was at the moment, how it was this Gemba workshops led to today, that we are doing several projects in several companies, even within a lot of different countries. So one of the points is also, how do you see that? How do you see this kind of diversity that we have in a lot of different countries that we are in, with the way that the methodology is implemented, the authenticity that you were just mentioning? What is, in your opinion, is also the pluses, the benefits, also the challenges that we have? Because delivering the legacy of Masaaki and how he built the methodology and we evolved it to what we are today, that we are a company in a lot of different countries, and each country has its own culture. That is also a thing that even in Poland, I find myself when people ask me like, okay, but we are Polish, right? Like we have a specific culture, like how Kaizen is also flexible in those terms.
Mhm. In old days, I hear also lots of stories of, the clients, like small business, like Kaizen saved my life. My company was bankrupt, hurting, and Kaizen saved literally my life in tears. Those stories were around. And I think that tells me that these cultural differences are there, but power of Kaizen is very, unique and really real even in a different cultures. As a company, yes, we have, different nationalities and leaders. We come together. Diversity is a strength, and also diversity can be a challenge. But this commonality is this love for Kaizen, because I think we call ourselves Kaizeners, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are spreading Kaizen methodology and helping companies. So in my mind, whoever practicing, the teaching or recipient of Kaizen methodology is these Kaizeners. And, this is, I think this common thread. So that's again our strength. So, as we grew over the years, of course, we help local clients or large international clients, multinational clients. There are many challenges, but always coming back to this authenticity and methodology. That's really something that we want to preserve and then put in the center of our organization.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, a lot of challenges, but I'm hopeful that, we can keep building up on this, the most precious, the methodology, and what we are receiving from the past, we are gonna have to pass to the next generation. Yes, yes.
So let me ask you one thing on that. In your opinion, as well as you've seen the evolution, and you also understand the origins. Like, what is, in your opinion, the next challenge that we are going to face in terms of methodology of the Kaizen evolution? Because we've lived through different evolutions of the methodology, as we're discussing. What do you see next, as where we are going as a society, also, and as business? Where are they going right now in the challenges they face in the real world? What is the next challenge in the Kaizen part, in your opinion?
Always, this world's changing, right? Technology is, in other words, our clients or the companies out there, they are always also changing because of the world's changing. And sometimes, the companies and people react to, let's say, the flavors of the month type of things. So we need to be able to help clients, companies, for their needs, and somehow, kind of knowing what's sustainable, what's long lasting versus what's just at the moment. May not be that critical, but it's a popularity thing at the moment in business. You know what I mean? It's just that, so we need to decide and kind of work hard on how to preserve what's long lasting, not losing this authenticity of the methodology, and keep adding value to our offering to the clients. Our Kaizen system is, as we talked about earlier, always evolving. So we have our responsibility to make sure whatever the improvement we are making should be something sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that is we need to know our core to be able to determine, that all the changes we may be making, improvements we may be making to our offerings and the methodology itself. We are not changing methodologies, but we are deepening our methodology in terms of what we can do to help our clients.
I guess also adjusting it to the challenges that our clients have at the moment.
Right.
Rather if it's, disruptions on their supply chain, if it is digitalization and artificial intelligence, if it is, for example, we're discussing this week ESG as well. So also like how do we use the methodology and we keep the authenticity? Because that's what you mean to build on the issues that our customers have, but without losing the legacy that we got, right? In that way.
If we try to put some solution to all the programs, so that we can help clients, it's not really organized, right? So we have to have this system, that's our standard. Our system is our standard. So we nurture and we improve, as we go. So that is the great thing about Kaizen methodology. At the same time, it's challenging, but I think our team, this global team, everybody understands this authenticity and nurturing that. So I have no fear, or we have a right eyes to be able to be on the right path.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are coming to an end, but there is one topic that I would also like to discuss, because there is a reason why we are doing this in Finland. Unfortunately, we cannot get to see all the snow that is outside us, but there is one point why we are doing this here and not back in the studio, because with Risa we tried many times to fit the schedules to try to do this in the studio, but in the end we decided to wait to do this here in Finland to avoid some unnecessary travels as well. And also related, what I'm just mentioning, related to what we were discussing, like Kaizen is a way of living, is something that is embedded into the Japanese culture, but more and more into other cultures. And we need to create awareness also in the different people around the world, not just in Japan, in different ages, in different genders, in different cultures. So Risa, tell us why we did this here in Finland. We didn't just go back to the studio and have a nice background, even though this wood here is very nice, but what was the reason behind it?
Yes, so we are carrying on this precious Kaizen methodology, right? And Kaizen Institute was founded in 85. And after almost 40 years, we are helping so many organizations around the globe. I really believe it was my father's intention also to help the world with Kaizen. So not only helping companies by supporting their operations, I wanted to start this creating Kaizen awareness in the world. What I mean by this is, let's say some group of people in a world that they know about Kaizen. Great. They know Kaizen, so they can utilize that concept. There would be another group of people who don't know about Kaizen. And I want them to know about Kaizen. Like many people know sushi, right? Probably sushi.
Many people.
Who may not know sushi, maybe, I don't know. And that can be a very small amount of, group of people now. So I would love if people can know the term Kaizen almost as much as example sushi. So we created this the non-profit type of activities, organization to spread the awareness of Kaizen. And this is called KAFCIA. It's Kaizen Association for Continuous Improvement Awareness. This is NGO. And what we do is we use Kaizen methodology and help certain organizations where they can benefit from Kaizen, learning about Kaizen, and we make in a sense some difference. So this is a new attempt or new activities we are started. It's not a Kaizen Institute, it's a KAFCIA effort. And the people like yourself and then some other Kaizeners, they believe in it, so that you volunteer sometimes to create these Kaizen awareness opportunity while supporting the society in some way. So as we are trying to create those opportunities where we can help those the organizations. Example maybe in here in Finland recently we helped Red Cross for a few days and then just make some improvement planning, and so that they learn about Kaizen, they can use it going forward. So it's a multiplying the benefit of Kaizen by us being able to teach in a small way.
So the target, I also understand, that is to bring, as you mentioned at the beginning, Kaizen to as much people as possible, and what are the benefits of Kaizen, but not related purely to business.
No, this is not for profit. It's another way of thinking. Also, the people who don't know about Kaizen, right? And also there are people that they know something about Kaizen, but not necessarily this Kaizen methodology. So what I mean by this is, again, in Japan, Kaizen, if you say Kaizen, either it's normal word for improvement, or in business, many people think Kaizen is a small improvement. It can be a suggestion system or QC circle or small improvement activities. But when Kaizen Institute or my father created Kaizen, it's a more systematic methodology, right? So KAFCIA's mission is also teaching this real benefit of Kaizen, not just only small improvement, but we hope that we expose the people who don't know about Kaizen so that they can use to create better, more effective activities if they are helping other people or if they are helping environment or stuff like that. So we started creating such efforts. I really felt bad. I really wanted to go to Poland, but also at the same time, we wanted to be conscious for environmental issues. And so I'm very thankful that you're accommodating this recording right here in Finland, combining to our business meeting. So I'm very, very happy and appreciate you doing this. So
I think it was also natural to find this kind of solution. Also looking at the values that we want to represent, also as Kaizen Institute. And also regarding to KAFCIA as part of the activities, it is true that we were discussing earlier this year some of the activities that we wanted to put in Poland. And that is one of the activities you mentioned, the activities in Finland with the Red Cross, which were more related to the organization, to the NGO of Red Cross, but also in Poland we started to do some specific activities, as you know.
Yeah.
Even though we directed a little bit more to education of the young generations, but also in that direction, to bring awareness to specific sector of people that maybe they don't know Kaizen as the benefits of Kaizen, and we are trying to do that in Poland in the next months. Little taste of it, what we are doing, just also for our audience in Poland in the next months. We are together with Risa, because Risa, of course, is supporting us with doing this with KAFCIA. We are preparing a series of Oxford debates with different schools around Poland. We are going to have also a partner that is teaching us on the Oxford debate as it is, and we are, as Kaizen, we are bringing the methodology, the knowledge on what is Kaizen and how can we achieve some benefits from the methodology. And we are going to have several schools around Poland participate on this. I think we are looking at around 8 schools that will be with us, and we'll have some lectures about the Kaizen methodology, the foundations, and some basic tools that we are using on our daily basis. And each Kaizener probably knows that we are bringing this to a younger generation. We are looking at teenagers that probably they didn't hear about Kaizen before. And then we have also a partner that is looking into Oxford debating, so that we can bring both together, and we will do an event. Probably we'll give some more details in the future for our audience in Poland, of an event where we will have specific schools and teams debating about Kaizen and what they learn about the lectures. So bringing this kind of awareness, the benefits of all the methodology, and having them understand what is the pluses, all the benefits that it gives on their daily basis, as a person in that case. So we will talk about this later in the year, and probably you will hear about us and about these activities that we're doing. But I wanted to relate, because it's true that we were discussing this with Risa, and one of the activities that we have with KAFCIA this year, with Kaizen Institute Poland in that case, is this activity that I just mentioned.
Yes, thank you so much for being a part of this, because Kaizen Institute Poland sponsoring, volunteering, and then, using the methodology to reach out for the younger generations. They can learn this good, wonderful methodology. The Kaizen Institute's mission is really to improve the world. It's a big mission, but we believe, we are doing step by step. So through KAFCIA's activity like this, also we are improving the world, and that the people knowing Kaizen and then start applying. I think this will make a huge difference. So thank you for supporting, this wonderful program, and I'm very excited about it.
We'll keep you updated for sure.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure also from our side. So Risa, we are closing almost at the end of the podcast. I still have just one last question for you. In the podcast that we are doing in Poland, we are always at the end of the episode asking our guests to explain a specific anecdote related to Kaizen. It can be in any way related to some visit at the Gemba in our clients, on the daily life, with your childhood as you've been growing up that impacted you or your life. Do you have anything that you share with us? Probably you have a lot of stories. But
yes, a lot of stories and a lot of great, things probably I can talk about. But one thing that came to my mind recently, maybe I can share about it. And we talked a little bit in our group this week. So my father pursuing Kaizen methodologies. Naturally, Kaizen is never ending, continuous improvement. So, he's been a very funny and, friendly person. But when it comes to Kaizen, he was also very strict because he knows there are always things to do. Company can improve, right? And the skills can be improved. So, we lost him last year. And, now looking back, a lot of wonderful memories, but at the same time, when he's talking about businesses and the Kaizen journey, I really can picture him sometimes shaking his head and saying, "Mada mada." And "mada mada" means in Japanese, not there yet, or falling short. And, I don't know why, but I started thinking just him saying "mada mada" for some reasons, just quite often. And every time I think about it, it's a good lesson that, okay, we have to apply that to ourselves because it's so true. The Kaizen is this never ending, unattainable perfection that we are chasing. So, sometimes we celebrate our, performance and what we achieved. I think it's very important because that gives, the motivation to ourselves and the company and the people and clients. But quickly, we should think about, okay, we are mada, we are falling short. So what can we do? What else can we do? And I think this has this answer to the competitiveness, that what Kaizen teaches. So, I just wanted to share how often I think about him saying this mada word. I don't know why, but, it's a good lesson, I think. Not only, for ourselves, but, all the Kaizeners, I think it's a great lesson.
Thank you, Risa. Thank you very much for finding the time, also organizing the meeting here, and also for all the inputs that you gave us today. I would like to just finish the podcast. We are reaching the end, the last point. I'm always handing the farewell of the podcast to my guest. But again, I would like to thank you very much to be here, talking to me, to also share all your knowledge and all your experiences with our viewers. So Risa, last part, I'm handing it to you to close the podcast today. And thank you again.
Well, thank you, Aleix. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And I think, again, I cannot say how wonderful Kaizen methodology can be. We are all pursuing it. We are loving this concept and believing it. So, we really want everybody to learn with us and embrace and be a part of our efforts to make the world a better place. And, we believe Kaizen methodology really can do it. So thank you so much.
See you soon. Thank you.